I noticed as I was beginning, I can see my United Way shirt. I was volunteering for them and writing them calligraphy thank you notes earlier this year. Or actually late last year, just before Mikey and Sydney got raped in the summer. And that was nice to write the notes, and everyone was nice. It was all women. But I just sent an email talking about rape babies again, and it's disgusting, you know. Like, if the film premieres in July, then that's 9 months from the time that they got raped in October, isn't it? Right? It's like somewhere between October 5th and 15th, somewhere in that 10-day period. And that upsets me a lot. The thought of them having rape babies inside of them. The thought of him destroying their sexual identity forever. The thought of me, like, being able to reach out to her father and say, right, what do you have to say about Mikey's father? What do you have to say about my allegations, right? What does she have to say about me saying that she got forcibly penetrated by Brad Pitt and forcibly impregnated by him on the set of The Continuing Adventures of Cliff Booth? Like, is it still funny, Hollywood? Like, this is maybe what I'm struggling with in a big way, is that, like, at what point does the joke end? Like, at what point does it stop being funny? Right? Like, at what point does a real representative from someone's in the saga, like Sydney Sweeney's representation, Mikey Madison's representation, show me a definitive legal statement for, like, how they see me in relation to them, what they have to say about my allegations in the movie critic, and it's becoming more and more obvious that it was Mikey, because he's, like, scarring her up, and so she's gonna get stripped naked and tied up and fucked and have a fucked up face, and that's, like, right, that she was playing chess, like, with her life. You understand that, like, she survived, right, the burning, so her face is all scarred up, and she's getting stripped naked and fucked, and so therefore any potential sexual partner that she has moving forward, his lust for her will be filtered through, right, the prosthetics and him seeing her get fucked in bondage on this film. Do you get it? Right? That's fucked up. That's fucked for him to not see that, right? That he cared so little about her psyche. He cared so little about, like, her life, like her seeing her parents, right? That he's deeply sick in his mind and has no reverence for magic, right? And so I have to keep talking about it because, right, like, why not? Why not? Right? Rape babies, very funny. Very funny. Black magic babies. That's funny. That's fun. Where are they right now? Why can't they take pregnancy tests right in front of me? Right? So Mikey Madison and Sydney Sweeney have Brad Pitt's rape babies inside of them. That's, like, what I'm saying right now. The Daniela Pick has Brad Pitt's rape baby inside of her right now. Because Quentin likes to play these subtle bullshit mind games because he cannot biologically conceive. But when I aborted his magic at Tribeca, all of the women said, we have a body, we have a choice. He chose to walk away, we choose to walk away. Because the way you treat us isn't cool. And now that we see that you're never going to forgive him, we can't justify, right, being associated with you anymore because you've damaged our psyches to such an attenuated degree that we have to follow our souls now. Yeah, that's, like, what I'm saying. That this is in fact the most disgusting thing that any of you will ever hear about. Right? Completely rooted in evil, malevolence, control, black magic, sedition of the soul, all of these things, right? Like, the most disgusting manipulation that anyone can be subjected to. And if Quentin had any reverence for her at all, as a child of God, as a disciple of him, right, he would have let her come to me. That's like, he would have cast me immediately and said, oh, I see. Because he is good enough. Like, he is a really good actor. And right, that's like, there it is, there's mastery, there's true mastery, right? Psychiatric illness is everything that we're in now. That's the point, right? And so, right, can I please just, like, take possession and raise these rape babies as my own? Can I be like Quentin? Like, that's, like, there's the joke. Pretty funny. Right, now I have no choice but to, like, raise the babies that he conceived, by directing Brad Pitt to forcibly rape and impregnate those women on his film set that I could have been on, but I humiliated him as a psychic. So therefore, because those women love me, right, he's going to force them to have rape babies, and then I can raise them like he raises his kids, because he can't biologically make babies, and so the babies that he sees in his house aren't biologically his kids. And now when I look at those kids with my wives that I love and I want to make babies with, I can be reminded of the fact that Quentin controls us physically as well as spiritually and biologically, right, emotionally, sexually, intellectually, on every level. Right? Is that right? Like, is that cool, Hollywood? Is that like, oh, like cool? Like, yeah, you showed him. Devoid of grace, devoid of civility, devoid of love, pure, disgusting control. Yes, Hollywood's fucking awesome, isn't it? So, right, this is me reminding all of my viewers, right? Sydney Sweeney and Mikey Madison have rape babies inside of them right now. Right? Daniela Pick has a rape baby inside of her right now. LAPD, right? Until they're in front of me, right? Until they're in front of me, right? And explain everything to me, right? Which could mean, I need you inside of me. The treasures of my body are yours. And that's the truth, right? Or that they're sadistic black magic witches who revel in the thought of making me believe that they've been giving me AIDS and actually enjoy seeking to compel me to suicide. And if that's the case, I contend you need to be locked up. Right? But if Quentin is forcing them to make rape babies, right, we got it. That's too far. That's like, it's not funny anymore. Like, is it still like a joke, like on my mind? Is that like what's occurring? Like, I get that he wants me to blow my brains out. You know, like I get that, but like, I'm not going to do that. Like, is he so opposed to them like loving me and not like, and them, you understand like what I'm saying right now? That is he so sadistic and evil that in order to give them to me, right, that he forces them to have their first children with another man as an act of rape upon their bodies so that we always remember how we came together, and it's through Quentin as a psychic. Is that right? Is that like a cool Hollywood story, or is that in fact a disgusting criminal conspiracy, right? And so this is where it's like a joke. It's like, oh, I need to know like where the joke stops. Like that's the point, right? Can I be in love? Can I be a loser and be in love? You know, is that like an 80s pop song? In your eyes, right? Like there has to be a line. There has to be a point where it's like, okay, yeah, it's not a joke anymore. Like, yeah, I fucking hated you for Tribeca, but this witch won't let you go. Isn't that like what this is all about? That they can't, that movie is so fucked up, right? That this is a political decision now. It's beyond notions of amorous sexual desire, though that's there too, right? That this is a stratagem. It's a political stratagem because now they can honestly tell themselves, I seduced this man with my mind, not by making him want to masturbate when I got butt-fucked in bondage on Quentin Tarantino's last film set. I almost said butt-fucked. Maybe they did. Right? Maybe that's what he did. Right? Right? My point is that he compelled them into doing those scenes. It's obvious. Right? And so, right, if he treats them the way he treats me, then it is fair to assume, right, that he would force them into signing permission waivers and NDAs, hold them in a quasi-criminal fashion, never letting them out and feeding them with crackers under the door, right, and force them to get forcibly penetrated while he's actively, right, molesting their psyche as well, where they're bound, immobile, right, can't move, can't see, can't scream, right, and he's in their mind, right, blasting their psyche, saying, Brian fucking hates you, no one will ever love you. You're a nasty fucking bitch that I tie up and rape. That's what you are. Brian doesn't love you. You don't know what love is. Brian fucking hates you. He never wants to see you. I possess you. I control you. No one writes you love poems. You're a skanky fucking bitch who takes this black magic baby because you don't want to give me what I want on my terms anymore. Yes, that's the point, right? You don't want, so you think that Brian has the right to still fuck you on my film set and he doesn't want to, right? Submit to my mind. I forced Brad Pitt to make a black magic baby inside of you to remind you that that's a ridiculous notion. I control you. Fuck Brian. Right? He takes my sloppy seconds He raises the rape baby I put inside of you, just like I raised the babies I put inside of Daniela. Now we're all on the same page. Now he's just like me, and I'm just like him. Get it? Right? And so that's like, one second. And so yes, right, the obvious reply to that is, that's without a doubt the most fucked up thing I'll ever hear in my life. And so, right, if it's a figment of Quentin Tarantino's imagination, which he is exacting upon me as an act of psychic sedition to compel me to suicide, I would like the people around him, right? I would like those women, Sydney Sweeney and Mikey Madison, to put themselves in front of me and confirm one way or the other, right? Because if I'm wrong, then I can rest in the fact that, right, that we're in love and we love each other, and that's like what it's always been, and he just wanted to torture me for as long as he could. Right? And if I'm right, he needs to go to prison. That's the point. If I'm right, then he has allowed them to cultivate a rape baby for all this time that maybe they don't want to get rid of it now, even though they do. Because they do have a conscience. Because it is something that's alive, and they're thinking about me, right? That's right, and that's disgusting. That's disgusting, right? Is he just going to hold them for 5 months? Right? Are they showing yet? They might be showing here soon, actually. Is it still funny? I mean, I know they were supposed to go to Budapest this month. Right? But did they? That's what I'm saying. Like, where are they? Why can't I see them? Are they in Budapest? Right? Are they on Mulholland Drive? Tied to a bed with rope, just like in that film? You get it? Right? That in their minds, right? They were always, like, embarrassed about that film. That they always hated that film. Right? But when they saw my material, they said, we do have an opinion about this. Like, he's fucking rad. That he should play the role. Right? Because it was their minds, it was their souls, it was their bodies, it was like everything. It was like their whole lives. Right? Which I couldn't see because I always saw the character as one of my characters. As someone who writes about life that occurs all around him. Right? None of my characters get laid in anything that I've ever written. Except for this newest novel, because of Quentin. Because it needed to occur. Not because I wanted to write smut, but because like it serves the story on some level, you know? On a fundamental level. Right? That for me, like Max and Sarah and Ashley, right? Like they express themselves in such like aggressive sexual ways, right? Because of, right, their desire to seek clairvoyant understanding in everything. That's the point. Right? And so Max had a twin, and that's like how he got started, and then that's like why he quit doing it, because he felt like he was stifling his psyche from moving on, from growing, stifling the soul of his brother, and perhaps enslaving him to the earth, right? And this is my contention about Daniela's father. That's the point, right? That in so conjuring him in my mind, he has stirred that restless spirit, right? That's like, this is how it works, right? That's not up for debate. Like that occurred. That now that guy, he's in my mind and he needed to never be. All right? But if the truth is that Daniela always wanted me to know her, right? Right? Like a husband knows a wife. You get it? Like a father knows a mother. Right? Then it stands to reason that inevitably he had to mention him to me. Because eventually there was going to be a time where Daniela said, let me tell you all my secrets, please. Like, no secrets between us. Take what you need, right? And so I can't see that, man. And so that's like one thing. But like what I'm saying is about Mikey, right? Like if Mikey and Sydney are getting debased in this movie in like a real way, right? And so they never thought that they like had the actual, like had an opportunity in a real way to like define something meaningful out of that. In their careers, in their sexual identity, in their relationships with people, with their relationships with their families, right? That's the point. That's the thing that Quentin was supposed to like. So Quentin's so concerned with his legacy, he never thought about, right? This is when I say legacy, but that they were thinking about their lives too, like on a deep philosophic level, like on a psychological level. That actually does like make a lot of sense, right? And so, right? My point is that I should have seen farther, I hate the fact that I'm fine. I hate the fact that, right, that I'm like as strong as 5 Green Berets, right? That's like, all these things are like fantasies for women, right? But because like, my vow, I want my contributions to a room be my intellectual gifts from God. That's what I want. Not the fact that I'm hot and I got a fucking rock hard cock full of cum, right? But that's not why I wrote Quentin Tarantino. But if that's like what he expects from the movie critic, you get it? Then it stands to reason that these women that he's been debasing sexually for all of these years would immediately see like something like to latch onto, like on a primary fundamental level, that I'm a writer, right? And I'm sincere and I'm handsome and really talented and like all these things, especially in relation to creating a healthy psychological identity removed from Quentin's possession of them in this psychic, unhealthy way. Right? That's where, like, that's, right? That this is where Quentin was too selfish. Right? He should have been like, okay, like, yeah, like, cool, you see something in him. One second. Right. And again, right, it's like, it's my fault. Like, Tribeca's my fault. It's not their fault. It's not Quentin's fault. It's my fault, because, like, I was supposed to, like, have ambition for that role, Like, he doesn't have to tell me about the women that, right, that were all up his ass about me playing the role as soon as they saw my material. Right? I have to see the role. That's what he wanted me to see. Right? And that's fair. And that's fair. Right? I have no right to expect forgiveness. Right? No right to expect forgiveness. But if we're just talking brass tacks here, right? If we're just talking like psychological resonance with their lives, right? He has to be okay with them being with me, even if, right? Only if the script is like I say. That's the point, right? Like if he wrote Mary Poppins, right? And nothing weird and sadistic and sexual happened to those women, right? Under the direction of Quentin Tarantino, right? If they weren't actually raped on Quentin's set by Brad Pitt and forcibly impregnated, right? All these things. If they weren't, right, compelled through psychic sedition to sign all the NDA and permission waivers that they had to, and are compelled by his perpetual torture upon them to appear as though everything is fine, right? But if he wrote the script the way that I'm sure that he did, because that's the only reason that we would still be doing all of this, right? Then he has to see, right, on a fundamental level, right, that if you have humiliated them in this way, right, in this deeply ritualistic way, right, and they had no love in their heart, right, like that there was like nothing there, you've destroyed the movies for them forever. That it's done. Like it's done. It's completely done. And if you don't accept them being with me, right, if you force them to do all of these things that you're still seeing in your mind, if I'm not prepared to sue you, right, then you are telling them, right, I expect you to be miserable forever and you can fucking blow your brains out at any time because you're a worthless bitch who means nothing to me. I don't care about your soul. I don't care about your relationships with your family. I cared about seeing you get fucked on my film set, right, by my mind, right? And since Brad, right, is not a psychic, since I control Brad's mind, I direct him to fuck you and you don't have any control over it. You get it? That's my point. Like that's my point. So they can be with me, right? Because like they have no other choice and they can't like fuck another man like after this thing because it's always in relation to this thing, right? And therefore I'm the last one, as well as the only man who, right, did not submit my mind to them, which is the only way that they have, right? Like that's how Quentin conceives, right? They have an unhealthy psychological relationship with Quentin. That's the point, right? Or, right, I can be right, and he is holding them in a quasi-criminal fashion, and he's deeply sick, and he needs to go to the hospital or to a prison cell forever, right? 25 years, first-degree rape, right? And there's 6 counts, right? 3 bondage scenes, 2 actresses. Right? Oh, no, it's only 1 each. Oh, that's all it is? Is that better? There's only 1 first-degree felony, right? But there's 2, right? But there's 4, isn't there? Because it's 2 actresses, 2 scenes, 2 men, right? Each forcibly penetrating both of them, right? That he can't conceive doesn't make it not rape. It's still first-degree rape, forcible penetration, Right? They have no way of defending themselves at all, right? And so my point is that they agreed to put themselves in such straits physically because they have no control over their minds either. The only time they ever expressed a desire to have an intellectual opinion about that film was to have me play the movie critic. That's the point. That's the point that I'm making, right? That they said, oh, we want to go to him. We want to like speak to this guy immediately, right? Like seeing the film for what it is, me not seeing it, right? Seeing that I was saying, oh, I can, right? Like, I can be the one that ties up Mikey Madison and Sydney Sweeney and fucks them on camera. You get it? But I didn't know that. That they saw that and said, yeah, no, this guy's fucking cool. Now I can like have a man out of this and like have it be like this cool, sexy thing. Like, yeah, like that's, yeah, like I like that. Let's like, I want to talk to him. You know, like I want to talk to him. Right? But he knew exactly what she was saying. That's the point, right? She ain't doing much talking except flat on her back. She might make noises. You get it? Right? Because she's justifying the film, right? She knows she has to do the film. That she doesn't have any real say. Because he exacts a deep psychic seditious enslavement upon her soul with his behavior. Right? And so when she found my material, specifically Mikey, because I think he scars her up, but Sydney as well. Right? That they both, like, boom, they did those calculations immediately, right? Because they're smart. Right? They're way smarter than I am. And they always saw the full picture. They said, oh, yes, like, no, like, this is cool. Like, we'll fucking, yeah, this guy's, like, fucking rad. And he's, like, really talented. And we can justify both being with him in relation to this film now. Because, like, now we both, like, have this guy that, like, can support us and, like, make us better. Like, yeah, like, that's what I'm saying. And he's done everything that he can to control me because he's been so sadistic and awful to them in this sexual clairvoyant psychic capacity for all these years, that he is palpably terrified that when they start going, right, when they start confessing everything to me, that I'm going to say, tell me what you'd like and I'll make it happen. You get it? I want to see him suffer like I have. You get it? But I don't want to do that. Right? And so this is why he set up this golden cage with Tribeca, so that it would muddy my psyche from interpreting their deeply traumatized minds and bodies and souls. That's the point, right? And so when I balked at his magic, right, that they started balking as well. That they went, oh, he's shown us, like we don't have to, like, right? But because he has support from everyone around him, right? You've all allowed him to lose his mind completely, like he's gone. He's gone. If they can't see me, it's because he's gone in his mind. That's it. Right? Like, no, I'm sure of it. I'm sure of it. Like, they're not weird bitches. That's what I thought for a long time. They're not. They're not. I get it now. Right? The two women, Ashley and Sarah, it's those two. That's where that comes from. Right? And so it's like the characters in the book are like periphery. Right? And this is like, boom, direct, like actor to actor. Right? But that's like where the inspiration came from, because they've been thinking about me all this time and saying, I never got a say. I got forcibly impregnated by a man that I didn't want to do it with. That's like what I have to say to my soul right now. And so, right, I fight for them, not only because they're fine and because I want to be sexy with them, right, but because he has no right to either treat them this way or lead me to believe that he's treated them this way if it is in fact a sick joke. So, God bless.